Greetings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to see everyone today. Today is the first day of a new month in a new cycle. We're really, really excited to be here with you all. Someone just give me a comment to make sure that you all can hear me. And also, if you would let me know where you're joining from. That's also very, very great to know about. So you can pop that in the chat as well. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know you can hear. Welcome, welcome. I see some people out here that I know. Hi, my peoples. How you been? How you been? So super excited to be here with you all today. I see BK, I see New York, I see Akron, Ohio, I see UK. Okay, all right. We are gathering from the Bahamas. Oh, Maris. I won't say that I won't say that I am jealous or envy you, but right now it's 6 degrees here in New York. So please get some of that sun for all of us. I see Berlin. Uptown is in the house. Hey, sis, how are you? Thank you all so much for joining us. Brooklyn, we are so excited to be here with you today. So, as many of you all know, we have been doing a series of workshops and opportunities to really help us facilitate uh, honoring the medicine of winter, but also honoring our own transitions that happen during this time. And so, in our last iteration of workshops that we did the 3-day rooted reset. Then we did the Sanctuary of She. Both of those were just amazing opportunities for us to work together. This was the next one that came to me, which was setting the path. And one of the reasons, hey, Deborah, I see you from Richmond, Virginia. One of the reasons why this particular workshop was really important for me is because, today is January 1st, 2026. We are walking into a new cycle. We'll talk about the numbers of this cycle, but also that in our own cultures and in our own communities, we celebrate quote unquote New Year very differently. So for me, my new year actually in June. That is when the Yoruba celebrate their new year. However, we do recognize that this shift in the cycle process is important to recognize. And so, what do you do with this information? What do you do with how you plan your way forward for the next 6 months, right? January to June is another amazing vortex of information and time where seasons are changing, and what we're working on is going to manifest based on us understanding how to be in the correct cycle. So set the path, this idea of us aligning with our sacred purpose, of us learning how to listen to our Ori, how to use the numbers and our own life path numbers as an opportunity to tap into the guidance that exists in us so that we can have the next couple of months, may they manifest with ease, right? The opportunity for the things that we're working on to be in alignment. So I'm really excited. And so thank you all for being here with me. If you have gathered your materials, we'll be working through them throughout the day. And then again, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. I'll also make time to read everything that's coming up. And I'm really excited to be here with you all today. So we are going to get started. Just grab my slides real quick. Here they are. So we'll start here, right? Setting the path, aligning with sacred purpose. What does that mean? Why are we here? Why are we doing this today? So this particular session is important. I'm going to change this a little bit so that you all can see the slide a little bigger. This is not about setting resolutions, right? The idea of resolute means that it's completed, right? It's a resolution. You've come to the end. And so one of the things that we want to recognize is that during this period, we have been taught in Western culture that we make resolutions. Well, how are you going to make resolutions at the beginning of a cycle? So this session is not about creating resolutions. It's not about fixing anything that's wrong. It's not about forcing. It is not any pressure to reinvent yourself. It is the opportunity for us to sit with who we are, to find true alignment and figure out and listen to where we need to flow. Right? Many times the noise is so loud that we forget that we have the answers and the answers exist within us. So really excited about this because this is not about setting resolutions. It's not about setting goals. It's not about any of those things. It's about coming to a place of listening. And through that listening, we find alignment. And through that alignment, we're then able to figure out what our next steps should be, or to make some sacred agreements about how we want to move in the next 6 months. So we talked about this when we started talking about the rooted reset, that winter is medicine, Winter in and of itself, to experience winter is medicine, because winter and the cycle of winter helps us to understand how to slow down. It helps us to understand how to create the opportunity for sacred rest. Everything around us, if you're living in an area that has multiple seasons or 4 or 5 seasons, even if it only has rainy season and dry season, those seasons tell us what we should be doing, because the entire ecosystem is also doing the same thing. So, winter, its medicine talks about listening before acting, right? This opportunity for us to slow ourselves all the way down and not feel pressure to make moves or to make decisions, because this is the time where we're asked to actually move slowly, that our resources during this time are minimal. And so what we have to do is that we have to take a moment to listen, to understand where we're putting those resources, because we don't have a lot of it, right? That rest is the best thing that you can do this time. I don't know about everybody else, but and I typically take naps and schedule them in my day, but this particular season, specifically after the solstice happened, I need like 3 naps every day. It's not even funny. I will finish one thing and then I'll feel like, oh my God, I gotta go to bed. And then I'll do another thing and oh my God, I gotta go to bed. I gotta lay down. I gotta go horizontal. Part of that is because rest is the one action that our body has that helps with integration. You're trying something new, you're experiencing something different. Your body wants to lock in information. It is through rest that that information gets locked in. So many times during the season, we'll be feeling tired and we want to force ourselves to keep going. And these are the moments that you should allow yourself the grace to rest. Go lay down, take a step away from the computer, say, okay, this may take me a little bit longer to get done, because this is actually the medicine of winter. The other piece about winter is that it asks us to align before beginning. There is this space, they call it the liminal space, that happens between the solstice and the time when the light returns, where you're kind of in this space where lots of portals are open, and it's still open right now. And so you'll feel like some things don't align and you just be like, no. And you may not even understand why, but part of it is that you're possibly hypersensitive right now to what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And part of that is because the body is using different ways to kind of figure out what's aligning for you right now. And so taking a moment to really sit in that and be okay with no being a full and complete sentence, because sometimes that is where we're aligned. That right now, there is nothing that we have to do. That everything that we're doing is what we choose to do because of the resources that we have and because of the rhythm that we're trying to make during the season. So, one of the things that's also really important to realize is that winter puts us into this kind of ancestral timekeeping rhythm. You'll find that you dream more during this time. You'll find that, again, you take more naps or rest in between activities. You'll find that you may feel that you're even isolating yourself because you actually don't feel like being around a lot of people. I joked the other day, I went outside to run some errands with my daughter for, I think, about 2 hours. Came back, that girl was on the couch asleep, like fast asleep. Literally, that was enough energy. We couldn't take any more energy. We were like, that's it. She took a nap, I laid down, and then I was able to do the next thing. So there's this rhythm that we get in this time, in this winter. And so I implore you to take a moment to find that rhythm, to slow yourself down, and to give yourself permission and grace to do so during this time. To not answer text back right away. I'm that person. I've developed a specific way of communicating. And so when people communicate with me, I like to respond to them 24 to 48 hours after they've said something to me. But that's been the way that I move just generally. However, in this season, it may take a little bit longer. You may get the response a day later. You may get it a couple of hours later, because I'm actually flowing in a different rhythm right now and I'm allowing myself to do so. So pay attention to the rhythm that you may be in. And even though it may feel like it's different than how you typically move, it could be that you're actually falling into the cycle of winter, that winter is allowing its medicine to begin to work on you. And it's going to work first on your body and then your mind and your spirit. So just be open to that. And trust me, as a person who does not like the cold, for me to talk about the medicine of winter really took some time for me to delve into it, to see like what is winter asking us to do? What happens? It's not just about it being cold and covering and we have to wear lots of layers, but there's something about what our bodies actually go through as we work in winter. And so it has to do with this idea of really slowing down and finding opportunities for sacred rest. So today we're going to talk about the role of our ori. And so in Yoruba culture, ori is our inner head and it holds the seat of our sacred purpose, right? This is our seat of consciousness. This is the sacred center of your being. It is the inner head that holds your highest knowing and deepest truth. This is the consciousness that met your destiny. This is what you chose before you came here on earth. And one of the things that's important for us to talk about when we talk about Ori is that one, where does it exist in our physical body? Two, how do we know when our Ori needs some attending to? So there are a couple of things. So our Ori exists in three specific places in our body: our head, our actual physical head. If you're looking at chakras, many times they talk about the crown chakra. So that would be your Ori. In Yoruba culture, we talk about the entire head being a holder of your Ori. Then you have your belly button. And your belly button is also connected to what we call our gut brain, right? So we have those who are new to us. Let me go through this really quickly before I continue with the places where Ori is found. So we have three brains. We have our logical brain, which is our where all of our information is stored, how we understand and go through life, what we are, our memories, our long-term and short-term memories. All of that is logged in our logic brain. It is our logic brain that helps us to bring up memories or to understand what we're seeing in the world. It processes colors and lights and feelings and sight and all of those things. That's what's processed through our logic brain. Then we have our heart. Our heart brain is the one that's located in our heart, but our heart brain is also really important because it actually has more electromagnetic feelers than any other place in our body. It's the reason why when you walk into the room, if it's a good vibe, you're like, oh, I could stay here. And if it's a bad vibe, you're like, I don't really like this. It is our heart that is always telling the logic brain and the stomach brain what's going on, right? It's one of the reasons why if someone experiences heartache or heartbreak, what happens? Not just they are experiencing a huge emotional load that's happening to them, but they also can experience an actual heart attack, right? Because those emotions will ride so heavily that the physical heart will also feel it as well. So we have our logic brain as one, we have our heart brain as two, and our third brain is our stomach. It sits in our stomach. It is the place of our intuition. Is the place where many times when the seasons change, you may feel like, oh my goodness, I want to fast. I want to clean my gut. Yes, because our intuition sits there. It is a place of our will, right? Your solar plexus is also located there. So the things that you want to do in your life, the things that you have been called to do, the person who you are sits in that place. And so those are the three places in which we have our brains. And these brains can work together. Many times, if we experience dis-ease or disease, one of these brains will kick in more than the other. Right? So when we've experienced heartache, many times our logic brain will work, but then we'll stop forgetting to think with our heart. Right. And so sometimes we'll be thinking with our heart, but we're not using our intuition because we may have made a decision and that intuition is like, oh, I don't really trust you. And so you've severed the trust that you have in yourself. And so you don't listen to your inner voice. So throughout the time that we're working in the seasons, it is a great time to realign these different brains as well, to think about, am I only thinking with my head? Has something happened with my heart why I'm not dropping into my heart? Am I only thinking with my heart? Is there a reason why I'm not following what my intuition has told me to do? These are the times where we are able to kind of clear out the muck and figure out what we need to do to support those brains. So any questions? If you have some, pop them into the chat. I'm going to give a breather before we continue. Great. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in. So, going back to the role of Ori, right? Our Ori, our inner head, the place that holds our sacred purpose. So, it is the seat of our consciousness, and it exists in three different places in our bodies: our head, our actual head. Many people will say your crown chakra. So it's usually right here. If you could see on top of your head, you'll find it. It's usually on babies. You have a new baby and they have that soft spot. Is that soft spot also is a place where kind of to find the actual spot. Then you have in your belly, specifically your belly button. Again, we talked about the three brains. So that's attached to your intuition, right? The seat of who you are, your soul, your will, your willpower, your solar plexus. And then finally, you find them on the tops of your toes, right? On each foot. And part of that is because your Ori also grounds down to the earth and keeps you connected to the earth, but also connects you to your ancestral understandings. So these three places are where our Ori exists. And so one of the things to pay attention is that our Ori carries the blueprint of our purpose, right? You know when you're walking in purpose and you know when you're walking against it because it doesn't feel like you're walking in alignment, or things may become very difficult when you're trying to do this work. And so one of the things to know that when you are walking in alignment, when you are walking in your purpose, many times it doesn't feel forced. Many times it doesn't feel like you're doing work. When you have people who say, "Oh, this doesn't even feel like work." Yeah, you're doing something that's aligned for who you are supposed to be. So one of the things to think about when our sacred inner head needs some attention, some of the things that can happen to us is that we could feel foggy or unfocused. We may be having bad dreams. We may not remember things. You'll be trying to remember stuff and you're like, why can't I remember? Sometimes these are the times that it's reminding us that we need to give some attention to that inner consciousness of ourselves. We can feel as though we can actually feel pressure in the head. That's something that has happened to me before, where it's like, oh, it's time for me to appease my Ori, because I literally will feel pressure. Sometimes I will get headaches. I can't tell you the last time I've had a headache, but I will get headaches or pains in my head, and I will know, okay, it's time for me to do that. So these are the things to pay attention to. Again, especially in the season of winter that has asked us to slow down and asked us to listen. Not to listen to what's happening outside of ourselves, but to listen to what's happening inside, right? The things that we may not typically jump up and think about are coming to us in messages in many different ways. Again, coming to you in your dreams, coming to you in your sleep, which is the reason why you may have more rest periods during this time than any other time in any other season. So, we're going to talk a little bit about what it means for 2025, which was a universal 9 year to be completed, right? Nine is that's the ending of a cycle. And so many of you may feel like, whoo, 2025. I know a lot of us would be like, this one almost took us out. It was serious, right? 2025 carries this vibration of completion. And so release and being able to really release anything that no longer serves you, any mindsets that no longer serve you, honor what came to fruition, and being able to really listen to what wants to stay and what wants to fall away. There have been some natural endings that have happened for you. It could be cycles, it could be friendships, it could be patterns that all of a sudden, without effort, they kind of dropped off. So we want to think a little bit about what we're releasing during this time. What are the things that naturally ended? What wisdom are we able to carry forward? And making sure that in this time, we're thinking about what we call the harvest energy. So we've done all this work already. We've done the prayers, we've done the release ceremonies, we've done the baths. Okay, what's remaining and why is it remaining? And what actually left, and acknowledging what has left. So I want you to take a couple of minutes to pull out your journal. And we're going to take maybe about 3 to 5 minutes to talk about what I want you to write about what naturally ended for you, What am I releasing with gratitude? These are things that I'm honoring because they've left, and I'm finding more space because I've allowed them to release. And then what are the one or two things that you're going to carry forward? Be there strengths that you learned about yourself, be there practices that you're like, I'm going to continue to do that. So take a moment to pull out your journal. Again, what has naturally ended? What am I releasing with gratitude? Like this was time for it to be released. And sometimes releasing is not rejection, it's just this opportunity to make space, right? We can't hold on to everything and then still think we have capacity to hold more. So if this is 2026, we're talking about this being a more year, then what do we have to release in order for us to have space to hold? So let's go ahead and journal. I'm going to put on a little bit of music. So, if you would like to share, please feel free to pop it into the chat. I will also share some of the things that naturally ended this year were job opportunities that were not aligned with my true purpose. They were friendships that lacked accountability and reciprocity. One of the strengths that I learned this year was that resilience is the ability to show up for yourself and for others, no matter what is going on in your everyday existence. And so being able to do that and see that through everything this year has been not just very rewarding, but I think has created a different muscle in my understanding of myself. And then what wisdom am I carrying forward? I am enough. My gifts will make space for me, and that love and reciprocity is the true currency. So, that is a little bit about what I journaled about. If you would like to share what you may have journaled about or something that stood out for you, feel free to pop it in the chat. I'll give us a couple of minutes before we move forward. Say, Deborah says, naturally released from a job, let go of a relationship. Wisdom going forward is to practice self care in 2026 and beyond. Ashe. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. See if anyone else wants to share before we move forward. Mara shared that she released my attachment to outcomes and fear of rejection. That is so big, right? I actually, that happened a lot for me this year as well. Um, Thinking about what could happen, right? But you don't have a blueprint for what could happen, and then trying it and putting yourself out there and realizing it's the best thing you could have ever done. That is such an amazing thing. Thank you for sharing, Maris. I see that Jackie shares, I learned a lot about myself, things that were hidden from me I never knew about, discovering me. That's amazing. Darrell says, walked away from a situation that was no longer serving you, Shay, and embracing the courage to choose me. Mara shares, I was reminded of the wisdom that I change the lives of everyone I meet. Yes, you do. You do. That you are the gift. You are the gift. Natasha shares, what naturally left for me was the attachment to body after death. And the realizing that death is a form of release from the old form into a new form. Ashe, yes, that we live in a society that makes death seem very linear, right? So the body is here, the body is gone. But actually, what we're actually attached to is really the spirit. And the spirit always lives. Matter never dies. So we need to understand how to continue those connections in all of these different forms. Thank you for sharing, Natasha. Kimberly shares that her day naturally fell off 5 weeks after receiving it. After quite some time, sorry, I was able to get it and my e-file washed, but they have since been lost in the mail. Oh, so I'm sitting with what it means for me, what it meant to stay, what it meant to keep, and am I willing to release with gratitude my time in New York? I'm ready for more. Yeah, sometimes change of scenery is a part of, where we have trailed, where we have created bonds, sometimes it's time for us to move. And so that movement is really important. Thanks for sharing, Kimberly. Lana shares, I completed a degree this year with the help of Maris. Hey, Dr. Jones. Mostly, I released a relationship to ask for approval from institutions, to be beholden to them. I release with gratitude what I could learn from these institutions, that I too, in fact, offer original ideas. Absolutely. And congratulations on completing your degree. And then Natasha says, I'm releasing any traumas trapped into my being so that I can be free. Ashe. The goal is liberation. The goal is walking in alignment. And so all of these things put us into a space that allows not just our minds, but our bodies to have capacity. So I want us to really quickly, before we move into the next section about 2026, to do a quick clearing breath. So everyone take a deep breath in and breathe out. Again, deep breath in and breathe out. Then you're going to try a different type of breath. You're going to breathe out with your mouth twice and breathe in. Out with your mouth and breathe in. Out with your mouth and breathe in. Two more. Out with your mouth and breathe in. Out with your mouth and breathe in. And take another deep breath in and breathe out. Last time, deep breath in and breathe out. And so that was an opportunity for us to not just clear the energy that may be coming as we are reflecting on these things, but also what that breath is called is the ability to quantum leap in your breath. So you may have noticed that as you breathe out first and then breathe in, you felt like you had more capacity. And so that is a part of that breathing exercises, to feel in the body having the ability to have more capacity. And so hopefully you all are feeling great. I know that I am very much awake now. And so we're going to continue moving forward. So 2026 is a universal year one. And what do we mean by that? If you add up the month, the day, and the year, you end up at one. And so one is the number of new cycles of initiation and direction, right? It is this idea of aligning with beginnings, fresh directions, letting go of the past, seeing clarity in your intentions and the tones that you set for the other months and the other cycles that are coming up. That this actual month, this actually time is that time that we begin to set new, become not set, but become aligned with things that we need to do moving forward. So there is an awareness with this particular year or this particular year and this particular cycle, because it is beginning a new cycle. This is really important because it's not about again, we talked about it at the very beginning. We're not choosing to make resolutions. We're not choosing to set goals. We're actually choosing to align and being able to take this time to listen. Listen to the information that our spirit is giving us. Listen to the information that our bodies are giving us. Listen to the information that our ancestors are giving us. Listen to the information that winter is giving us so that we can be in alignment. And so this is the fun of coming into a new cycle. I am truly, truly excited because I feel like the last 9 years have been everything that you can think of has happened. Some of it, yeah, I probably could have avoided if I had paid attention to it. And some of it was just the learning. And so I'm grateful for the learning and telling the universe and creator and all of my spirit guides, like, I got it. I don't need that lesson again. Thank you. Right? And being in gratitude for that time. So this is that new cycle to think about, well, what do I need to align with? What have I been holding back on? What have I been negating because I thought that something else was more important than what is important for me? And that this is that time to set and be a part of those intentions. So one of the things I love to do when we talk about numbers, okay, we in the universe we have sacred geometry. We have it in everything that we do. For example, I don't know if many of you all know, but turtles were actually are actually our first calendars. So when you think about the divine feminine, you think about winter, then you think about a turtle, and you look at a turtle's back. The turtle has the 13 calendars with 28 days, which uh, was faceted after the moon. So there are 13 moon cycles. Usually, a woman has 28 days, 29 days in their cycle when they're having their menses. And so that also is connected to the moon and the way that the moon actually moves. So we have very specific things that have happened in the numbers that we see, and we see them in nature, we see them in sacred geometry. But I also want us to take a moment to look at our own life path numerology. This is an opportunity for us to think about how does this how do these numbers begin to reflect who I am and how I show up in the world. And why is it important to take this as information that can help to guide me in what I'm getting ready to do? So, if you haven't done your life path number before, it's very, very simple to calculate. You'll take your birth date. So, my birth date is August 1st, 1980. I'll take my full birth date and I'll take all of the numbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all the numbers up until I come to a single digit. The only catch is that if you end with 11 or 22, those are master numbers, so you can keep them. You're not going to have to make them go down to one digit. So take a minute right now to add your numbers together. Again, your birth month, your birthday, and the year. And so you're going to total it all together, and then you're going to come to a single digit. And once you come to the single digit, I want you to put it into the chat. Great. Keep popping them in if you have. Great. No problem. I know. I have to go back and add mine as well. I am actually a 9. I'm gonna put mine in there too. All right. So if you have found your path number, again, check the math, or there's no reason for us to do it in our head. You can go ahead and use your calculator. It's okay. So once you have done that, you'll see that I'm gonna open this up just a little bit. Let me know if you're able to see this pretty well. So all of the life path numbers are on the far left. So if you're path 1, you're an initiator. Path 2, you're a harmonizer. Path 3, life path 3, you are deal with expression. 4, you're a builder. 5, pathfinder. 6, caretaker. 7, seeker. 8, steward. 9, elder. So I see some folks. I see Mara said she's a 4, so she's a builder, and Auntie Olivia is a 5. She's a pathfinder, and 4 sounds like you very much, um, Maris. I see Deborah. She said expression. So look at these. So what this chart is telling you is that one, your number gives you an archetype, right? It tells you who you are and what you do. So for example, mine is 9, elder, completion, compassion. 1 is an initiator, leadership, direction. I see. Okay, so I see TJ, you have 6. 6 is a caretaker, love, service. Mama Afriye, you are an 11, which means if you're an 11, it means that you have a master number. So you're not going to add it, you're going to go down, because master numbers, we don't make them smaller. It means that you're an illuminator. You have vision and inspiration. So I want you to take a moment to look at your life path number and then look at the archetype and tell me if that resonates with you, right? And not only is it the archetype that we're looking at, but I did a little bit more and I brought up a plant ally that's very helpful to you in this season. So for me, mugwort is very helpful because this is the time where not only am I resting, but I'm also dreaming. I'm dreaming a lot. You'll see that for one who is the initiator, ginger is very helpful. And one of the reasons we talked about ginger in the last session that we did is that ginger also helps to warm the body and helps you to initiate. It brings up that internal fire, right? In this time of winter, we need to also realize it's our internal fire that we're trying to cultivate as well. On the far right, you're also going to see your gifts, right? What are your gifts with this life path? Think about it and think about who you are and think about how you show up in the world. Is this a reflection of who you are? These are important because this is information that helps to support the energy of what we want to align with, right? Um, yes, Nicole, you said one, yeah, 10 would be considered one. Someone who has five, so five is a pathfinder, freedom, adaptability. One of your allies is lemon balm, and it talks about your gifts being flexibility and adventure. So take a moment. You're most welcome. So take a moment. I'm also going to, after this session, send this out to you all just so that you have it. But this is really what we call our tools, right? The the life path archetype helps us to kind of understand where we fit into the cosmos, why we do what we do, what we came to do, and how we're doing it in alignment with these different types of archetypes. Then our plant allies gives us the opportunity to use them as a tool to bring some of that archetype out even further. And part of the archetype are these gifts that we have, how we see ourselves in the world, how we show up in the world. Also, in moments of time where we may need some more courage, right? As number one is the initiator, leadership and direction, that also taking ginger will help us to have courage and to build momentum. That it is a gift, but sometimes we need to be motivated to bring that gift forward. So these are the ways in which we can use these life path numbers and these life path information as a tool to really anchor the wisdom of our own understanding, right? So our plant allies help us to embody. And then as we begin to talk about Ori, we are able to then set intentions, right? That are in alignment with who we are. We don't want to set intentions that are out of alignment with who we are, because one of the things that's going to happen is then we're going to feel like failures and we're going to feel unsuccessful. And part of that is because we are what? We're forcing. We're not going in alignment with who we are. We're trying to create something that is outside of ourselves. So that's where we want to sit with that today. Any questions or thoughts? Did anything come up for you as you saw your life path number and think about the way in which you have been experiencing life? Does this sound very much like you? Or taking it even a step further, how has this information helped you to reflect on the year that you may have just had and the year that you're hoping to begin? Mama Freya says, yes. Okay. You're a 3. Mm-hmm. Exactly like you, even though you try to minimize. Thank you for sharing that, Natasha. Yeah. Really thinking about how that resonates, right? Yeah. It's important that it resonates. Thanks for sharing, Kimberly. Maris says vetiver was one of the first plants I ever worked with as a teenager. I definitely identify with the qualities of a 4. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is the gift for nine? Nine is vision and release. Bianca asks, what is the gifts for nine? Vision and release. That one is mine as well. Nicole says, yes, speaks to a higher calling that I'm stepping into and recognizing more in the last decade or so. Yep. Yeah, sometimes this process of us recognizing ourselves or relearning ourselves, I think someone said earlier, discovering ourselves, it takes time, right? It takes time and it requires a certain amount of courage for us to walk against the grain for what people say we should be doing versus what we know in our hearts and our minds are really a part of who we are. So, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to a new cycle. Mama Deborah says these sacred numbers are very important and I continue to learn about them as it relates to my life and my purpose. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the wisdom that our ancestors have left for us. And in any indigenous culture it exists. So it's not like one is more than the other, but I think that it really is the knowledge that we're coming back to that's going to help us to do this. Lana shares, it took me a minute. I'm a nine. Interesting because I really met mugwort living in the diaspora and living nomadically. Hard to imagine myself as an elder, but it's a beautiful vision. Well, you may be an old soul, and that's part of why you are also nomadic. So sometimes it's not even the cause and the effect, is actually who you are is also bringing those experiences to you. Nicole says, and I'm obsessed with ginger. It has always been with me and given to me by my mother in some form my entire life. See, it's part of your archetype, which is very interesting. Kimberly says, oh, I have absolutely lived an adventurous life, and being flexible has been an instinct, reflex, and completely necessary. Yeah, it's interesting how these archetypes and reflecting on these archetypes, especially at the beginning of a new cycle, helps us again to be in alignment, to think about what are the things that we're doing, to think about what are the things that we're holding, and to think about the things that we want to manifest in this season. Thank you all for sharing. It always fascinates me to see what life path numbers, and then thinking about those of you who I know, and then seeing your life path numbers and thinking about your personalities. I'm like, yep, they match. So it's really beautiful to see this, because this again is information, right? We have information in all of these things. As I share, when we look at a plant, it's the same thing. The plant isn't just giving you information. It's not just there, right? The color is telling us something, where it grows is telling us something, the way that it's shaped is telling us something. These numbers and these archetypes also do the same thing, right? With this archetype, it gives us information. With this information, we can make decisions that keep us in alignment with our destiny. All right. So we are going to gather our ritual materials. If you have them, great. If you do not have them yet, I'm giving you a moment to gather now. And so I would ask you to have your bowl of water, your rosemary, either fresh or dried or an oil, any of those work. You can light a candle, and I would like you to cover your head. And so once you have done all of those things, I would like you to write in the chat, I am ready. And then we will begin our process. I'm moving my things around a little bit. So your bowl of water, your rosemary. If you would like to light a candle during this time, you definitely can. And then you're going to cover your head, and then we will get ready to start. No, the herbs aren't going to go into the water yet. So we'll do a process of putting them in there. So you can keep everything separate for now. Thank you for asking, Maris. So yes, you can light your candle now. Great. So we are going to get started. So we're going to begin first with our rosemary. And so no matter how you have your rosemary, if it's dried, if it's fresh, I would like you to I'm gonna remove this. That way I can just be with you guys. I would like you to grab your rosemary. And so, why is rosemary essential during this time? Why is it the herb of choice? Rosemary brings clarity and also brings remembrance. Rosemary, in and of itself, is around memory, ancestral memory, being able to bring your memory forward. I shared in other sessions that we've been in that many times you'll see the Rastafarians will wear a sprig of rosemary by their ear. And so, rosemary by itself helps us to remember. It helps us access memory that we may not consciously understand, but is sitting at the surface of who we are. And so we use rosemary in this moment to really bring the blessings of clarity and the blessings of remembrance. Because this ritual and these things that we are doing to align are not about us setting intentions, it's about us remembering who we are, right? And what's being called in this moment in time for us to move forward with. So you're going to take a moment to take your rosemary. Today I have mine in dried form. And if you have an oil, that's totally fine as well. You can use the oil. But you're going to put some of the rosemary in your left hand. You're going to take a moment to just take a deep breath in and let the aroma of the rosemary sink into your spirit. Again, take another deep breath in and release. Ooh. And so take a moment to touch the rosemary to your head, touch it to your heart. You can take a moment to just pray. Say words of affirmations that you want Rosemary to help you with in this period. Understanding that the plants are our tools to help us to embody what we're working on at this moment. And once you've finished praying, you again take a deep breath in and breathe out. If you're using fresh rosemary or dried rosemary, you're going to do what I call muddle the herb a little bit. So you're going to put it between your hands and you're going to rub it together. You can do that over your water, your bowl of water, just in case some of it slips out of your hands. It can just naturally go into the bowl. Continue taking sniffs of the water. Sniffs of the rosemary. Sorry. Muddle it a little bit more, and then you're going to allow it to drop into your water, your bowl of water. Once it has dropped into your bowl of water, you're going to take your finger and you're going to circle the water 7 times, going counterclockwise. And as many of you know, we talk about water having memory and water holding this information. So now you've prayed to the rosemary, and the rosemary has now found its space with the water. And so both of them are holding your prayers. And so you're also going to take a moment now to put your hands over your bowl and say a prayer to water, for it to embody who you are, for this water to embody your memory, and for it to set you into a place where you are able to set good intentions for this new cycle. And remember to take deep breaths in so that the aroma and the essential oil of the rosemary also embodies your olfactory, on an olfactory level. And once you have completed your prayer to the water, we're going to use this water to first anoint ourselves, and then we're going to go into a space of listening. So take a moment to put your hands in the water, dip your hands in the rosemary water, and at your third eye, you're going to pray for clarity and vision. Take a moment to pray for clarity and vision. And then we'll go over our heart. We'll pray for alignment of our desires, that all of our desires in this moment, in this time, in this season are aligned. And then you will go to your belly button and you say that I am aligning with or asking for clarity for my will and my creative center. That during this season, I am cultivating my creativity. I'm cultivating the season of rest and creativity. And finally, you will do your feet. And on your feet, you will ask for grounding and opening the path ahead. Grounding and opening the path ahead. And take a deep breath in and breathe out. Deep breath in and breathe out. Deep breath in and breathe out. And so now I want you to take a moment to focus your gaze into your water. To take a moment to not allow any of the outside noise to stop you from being able to be focused in this moment. And you're going to put your hands on your ori and take a deep breath in and breathe out. And in this moment, I want you to just listen for what your ori wants you to remember in this moment. What does my ori want me to remember? You can say that question to yourself. What does my ori want me to remember? And allow for it to download to you. Do not put any questions or thoughts to it. Just allow it to flow and to listen. What does my ori want me to remember? And take a deep breath in And breathe out. Give yourself a hug. We have one more question to ask before we sit and journal. And hold your Ori again. And ask your Ori, what does alignment look like for me in 2020? What does alignment look like for me in 2026? Listen for the explanation or see if the vision comes to you. What does it look like? What does alignment look like for me in 2026? The Ori knows, so it's going to bring it to you either through words or through visions, through symbols. Allow yourself to be open to receive. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Give yourself another hug. And when you are ready, take out your journal and see if you can put to paper what came forth for you. So your first question is, what does your Ori want you to remember? And what does alignment in 2026 look like for me? We'll write for about 5 minutes before we close our ritual. And take a couple more minutes, a minute or two, sorry. Definitely. So your first question is, what does Ori want me to remember? That was the first one that we did when we were holding our head. And so you may have gotten questions, words, thoughts. And then the second one is, what does alignment look like for me in 2026? And so, for those of you who have finished and want to share, feel free to share so in the chat, either what has come up for you, or if you're looking at these two questions, what's evident about how they connect to each other? So, I will say for me, one of the things that my Ori wants me to remember is that my greatness to continue to strive for excellence is also what I've been called to do, which is to help others. And then when I asked Ori for, what alignment looked like for me in 2026, and all of the visions that I got were being in front of people, either lecturing or helping or doing some kind of workshop in different spaces in different countries, and then also me seeing myself in my quiet time. So for me, as I go back and I look at what is on the page, I realize that they both actually very much align, and that Marie is telling me some of the things that I need to make sure that I'm being intentional with this in this cycle. Anyone else? Does anybody? Oh, I see it coming out. Mia Deborah says, my Ori says, I am loved. Ori says, love of self and community. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Anyone else? Or something that was significant in doing this part of the exercise? Kimberly shares, I heard you are who you are because we are who we are. You are a gift, and a gift will keep on giving. You are the original version. My vision was quite abstract, too much to type, but the word that landed was Oshun. Okay, that is very helpful. TJ shares, my Ori wanted me to remember that not only have I been here before, but I often asked this question a lot and didn't realize it was directed to my Ori. Visions were not clear, but the message felt like my Ori was showing me there is a path laid out that requires follow through. Thank you for sharing, TJ. Mara shares, my Ori says the cycle of life is a circle. Elders become ancestors for ancestors to become children whose purpose is in service to the entire lineage. Shay. And Nicole shares, my Ori says, to remember my elders and ancestor gifts. I am strong, I have fire and passion. Ashe. Beautiful. Greetings, everyone. Apologies. Computer uh, felt all of that energy and decided no longer to work. You all can hear me now? Okay, wonderful. Apologies about that. I see a couple more sharings in here. Natasha says, my Ori wants me to remember that I am already wealthy, and that wealth may not look the way that you would expect it to, but I am rich. My Ori wants me to remember that I am connected to brightness and the world's beauty, which is nature. This, for me, is pure alignment, and the Almighty gave it to humanity to enjoy, heal, and take care of. So, in a way, the two are interconnected for me, which actually makes not only myself wealthy, but also humanity. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Natasha. Nicole shared that alignment looks like spaciousness, being seen, a big smile, different types of work within an irregular schedule. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that was very beautiful, Natasha. Thank you for sharing. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for being here. So, I would like to close our ritual with breath, and then we're going to go on to one more reflection, and then we will be good for today. Okay? So, take a moment to take a deep breath in and breathe out. Deep breath in and breathe out. Last time, deep breath in and breathe out. And take a moment to place your hands on your ori and just give a short words of gratitude. My ori, I am grateful for the visions, for the alignment, for the opportunity to see myself today. For me, as I enter this new cycle, I pray that you will always help me to remember. May I always remember who I am. Give thanks. And take another deep breath in and breathe out. Beautiful. Beautiful. How are we feeling out there? This awesome. Thank you, Jackie. I tell you what, this rosemary in this water. So for the rest of the day, you can keep the rosemary in the water and put it someplace where it will constantly, you can smell it. You also can take this water. Something that I love to do with rosemary is I will take the water that we just, we blessed and we talked about and we've been working with, throw it into a spray bottle, and then I would carry it with me. And then anytime I need this kind of pick me up, I will go ahead and spray it. So those are different ways that you can use this water, because we've already imbued it with our energies, and so we're able to like really move this forward. So that is how you can continue to use it. And someone just typed, "Oh, we got two." I love it when we're on these calls and we hit the time. It's beautiful. Wonderful. Natasha says, I'm feeling blessed and very present. Okay, we're not finished yet. We're not done yet. We have one more activity, guys. Not a big one. Yes, TJ, that is a really great question. So Maris talks about that she feels grateful to be here. It's wonderful. TJ, you asked a question about reconnecting with your Ori. Just hold that question for me, because when I talk about some of the tools that you can use for this year, we'll talk about an actual Ori appeasement and alignment, what that looks like. Lana shares that she feels grounded. Ashe. Thank you all so much for being here. I always feel honored to be in spaces like this. Also, sharing this really powerful change of cycle time with you all. So we are going to do one more thing. And so, as I shared at the very beginning, that we aren't going to create resolution. We're not even going to create, we're not even going to talk about creating intentions. We're going to create agreements, Ori aligned agreements. So think about the vision that you had. Think about the question, what your Ori wants you to remember. Think about what does alignment look like for you? And I want you to write 1 to 2, again, 1 to 2, what we call Ori aligned agreements, right? The other, what you see here are examples. Walk in right timing, move with clarity and care, trust inner direction. These are Ori aligned agreements that will help you to, your one liners that you need sometimes in order to remember what you're doing. So I want you to take a few minutes right now, just 2 or 3 minutes, to come up with 1 or 2 Ori aligned agreements. And as you can see, there are short statements. And one of the other things that'll happen is while you're trying to do this, your Ori will tell you when you've gone too far. So I tried to write a second statement and it was like, nope, just one. So write your statement. You may start with the action and then put I will, or I am, or I will embody, uh, I will embrace. These are all action words. As we say, love is an action, it's a verb. It requires you to put a word in there that will do so. So take about 30 more seconds. And then if you have your agreement, if you would pop it in the chat, that would be great. Mama Freya says, I will embody grace. I'll write mine too. So mine was, I will embody rest as a practice in resilience. Let's get a couple more in here. Mara shares, I honor my gifts. I walk in divine timing. Shay. I will cultivate change. Again, this is a practice of not forcing, but allowing yourself to be in alignment. Kimberly says, I welcome my inner knowing and divine guidance. Auntie Olivia says, intentionally move with love, seeking understanding first. Yes. Mama Deborah says, I will embody rest as a means to replenish my energy and soul. Natasha shares, I listen before taking action. Nicole says, give thanks to Ori daily, pause before reacting or responding, practice active listening, center the needs of my body. Yes. Yes. So take these agreements. This is another challenge I have for you all. Take these agreements, put it on a Post-it, write it on a Post-it, and put it on your mirror in your bathroom. Because when you brush your teeth, you're going to see it every day until you're ready to create another agreement. Lana says, I trust my ideas. I will learn to ground my intuition with wisdom, and I rest as part of all of my practices. Yes, this is the season of rest. So please make sure that you are incorporating rest in all that you do. Any others? TJ shares, I will go where I am called, wanted. I devote myself to the divine plan. Shay. Shay. Thank you all for sharing. So again, keep these intentions, these Ori aligned agreements that you have, and the process that we went through with using the water, anointing ourselves, you can do that at any time. You can do it with just water. You can do it with another herb. You can do it with the herb that's connected to your life path. You see how these tools, right? You get a little deeper every time because you're able to connect all these pieces together. So you can do it again, and maybe in a month, or so, you may feel like it's time for me to check in with my Ori again. And this is a way that you can do so for yourself and to see what kind of agreement comes out and how that will then uh, create the opportunity for how you're moving in the world. Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me now? It is the energy of this work. So it's probably telling us it's time for us to go take a nap. No worries. Thank you all so much for being here. We are going to just close out. Well, one of the things I did want to share, I believe that TJ had asked a question about what are the things that we can use and some of the tools that we have in this season. So there are about two or tools that we have we can use during this season. One is our flower essences. As many of you all know, let me just get to that slide really quickly. Sorry. So all the things we did. Yep, nap time. I'm telling you. You only got to tell me once. I'm very clear when spirit starts moving like this. So a couple of things that we can use to align for 2026, some of our tools. Again, those of you all know we have our Soul Soil Collective. This is a monthly membership that allows us to kind of go deeper into this work. This month, January, we spend time on Ori and we spend time on our divine purpose and looking at how that aligns, using flower essences as an opportunity to really bring those things forward and being able to create parts of our own life plans with it. So those of you who are part of the collective, look out for an email. You'll be getting our schedule and some of the things that we'll be working on for this month. Then you can have your own personal or reappeasement. There are some people in the chat who have done this appeasement with me before, and those who have not. Really, it is a ceremony that we do in Yoruba practice that allows us to what we call appease our Ori or give offerings to our Ori and allow for any cloudiness, any unfocusing, any things that are coming up for us that seem to be out of alignment to be moved. And so this is one of the practices that we do, one of the ceremonies that we do. Interestingly enough, in Yoruba culture, as a priest, we do many of our our own appeasements ourselves. We go to our Orisha, we go to Ifa, we go to all of the different things. But our Ori is the one thing that we cannot do ourselves, that someone else has to do for you. Someone else has to say the prayer. Someone else has to help with the appeasement. So Ori appeasements is something else that you can do. And then we also have our divination, our reading of the year, which just helps us to kind of understand what's going on for the year, what things we need to be mindful of, what kind of energies are we walking with. Again, the same thing with your life path number. These are things that kind of help, gives you information of how you can move and how you can continue to conduct your work in this year. Nicole says, yes, you're a loving divine mother essence. So there are quite a few folks who are on here who have had our flower essences before. As you all know, the Divine Collection is the one that we are mainly using at this time. And it is a 13 essence, about to be 14 essence collection that looks at the alignment of different types of things that we're looking to embody, and the flowers that can help us with that, but also is guided by the Orisha. As an Orisha practitioner, part of my work has been to figure out how we can help people to embody. So, for example, Eshu is not just the gatekeeper, he's not just the messenger, but he is the embodiment of courage, right? When we choose courageously to walk the path of our destiny, he then helps all of the other blessings to move forward. So how do we deal with courage? How do we deal with truth? And so there's an essence called truth that we use when it's time for us to do that work. So also to let you all know that when we are working with the Soul Soil Collective, you are also going to be working with a flower essence each month. So that's the other way in which we're embodying these principles. So TJ, I hope that I answered your question, but if you have more questions, please feel free to hit me up and we can definitely make some arrangements. But these are the offerings that we have at this time, and that there will be more. Each month I will do my best to offer a free offering to community, and then it will have additional workshops that you can do to continue to deepen your experience. And so we are going to get ready to close. Yes. And as Mama Deborah said, nap time. It's time for everyone to take a nap. Which is also another indication of this work. When you do this work, many times you will feel sleepy or tired, and it's okay to rest, because rest is the way in which integration occurs. You're not going to be able to integrate your understanding, your feelings, or anything like that unless you take that break of resting. So please do not try and force yourself on this day. There's no need to stay up right now and make the black eyed peas. You could make the black eyed peas a little bit later. It is okay to take a break and then come back a little bit later in your day and do so. So I want to share this closing blessing with you. May your Ori walk before you. May your steps meet their season, and may what is not yours fall away with ease. May your Ori walk before you. May your steps meet you in this season, and may what is not for you fall away with great ease. This is the beginning of a new cycle. This is the beginning of the initiation of one. So take the wisdom that you know of yourself and apply it. It is going to be a magnificent winter. And trust me, y'all know I don't like cold, but this winter feels very different to me because we've used different tools to get ourselves ready, to begin to cultivate what we want to bring into the next season. This is the time to plant the seeds. This is the time to take care of you. This is the time to give yourself grace. This is the time where we get to experience sacred rest. Thank each and every one of you for being here with us today.